Due to its complex flashback-based way of storytelling, ABC's Once Upon a Time, and the interconnections of its storylines can be complicated to understand at some points. However, if one takes the time and effort to look at the chronology of events, the show makes sense most of the time, apart from some minor plot holes. But, it can, and it will, get more complicated. In Season 6, the evil queen makes a fateful wish that would rupture the Once Upon a Time multiverse forever.
I wish that Emma Swan's wish to have never been the savior be granted.
This creates an entirely new complex timeline, an imperfect carbon copy of the original Once Upon a Time universe. In this video I will try to make sense of the Wish Realm timeline as well as break down how the new Enchanted Forest from Season 7 fits into the mix.
That is indeed a complicated story. The timelines alone would make one's head spin.
This video, obviously, will include spoilers from all 7 seasons of the show, as well as the spin-off show, Once Upon a Time in Wonderland. In order to understand the Wish Realm timeline completely, it is essential to analyze the exact effects of the Evil Queen's wish. Not only does it copy the Enchanted Forest and geographically connected realms such as Camelot or Arendelle, but it also clones the entire known Once Upon a Time multiverse, including the new Enchanted Forest from Season 7. This ultimately means that the new Enchanted Forest we see in Season 7 is actually just the Wish Realm copy of an original we never get to see. A second thing that makes the Wish Realm timeline confusing to viewers is that the flashbacks from Season 7 set before Emma's arrival in the Wish Realm are events that never actually occur. They are just fake memories of the people residing in the Wish multiverse. The Evil Queen's wish just creates the results of these memories as if they were real. The timeline of the Wish multiverse itself is pretty similar to the original one. For a more detailed timeline analysis, check out my videos on the original Precurse timeline. In this video, I will only discuss the things that are different from the main universe and try to give possible reasons. The most notable difference is Robin Hood's story. He, Marian, the Merry Men, and the Sheriff of Nottingham are all supposedly born 30 years later, so they are still as young as their Storybrooke counterparts when Emma and Regina arrive in the Wish Realm. This however has dire consequences on the timeline. Every episode these characters were originally involved in does not take place or takes place in an altered way. These episodes are Season 2 Episode 19 Lacey, Season 3 Episode 3 Quite a Common Fairy, Season 4 Episode 17 Heart of Gold, Season 4 Episode 20 Mother, and Episode 3 of the Wonderland spin-off, Forget Me Not. This drastically changes the original story of Will Scarlet and the Wonderland storyline in general.
The ripple effect. Once you change something in the past, anything from that point forward becomes uncertain. The future, as you can see, is a blank page.
Because of Robin never having been there, Will never acquires the elixir of the wounded heart from Zelena and potentially never leaves Oz. And even if he eventually does, he never joins the Merry Men, as they don't exist yet, and therefore is also robbed of the opportunity to steal Maleficent's looking glass and therefore Anastasia, and will never get to Wonderland. Anastasia never becomes the Red Queen, never encounters Alice, and never turns Grendel into a monster. Will on the other hand never loses his heart to Cora, never becomes her knave, and never encounters Alice, Silvermist, or Lizard. Alice and Cyrus's story theoretically remains unchanged apart from the fact that the Red Queen never interrupts their proposal and kidnaps Cyrus. They might even live happily ever after if they also found a way to defeat Jafar. This change in the timeline also implies that Regina never met Tinker Bell and was never introduced to the man with the lion tattoo. She also very likely never drank an infertility potion. Tinker Bell on the other hand potentially never lost her wings, which means the episodes involving her after her fall from grace also don't take place. These episodes are Season 6, Episode 14, page 23, and the flashback scene involving Hook and Tinker Bell from Season 3, Episode 11, Going Home. Tinker Bell presumably never goes to Neverland, never meets Balefire, and never becomes an ally to Pan. The Robin Hood change is the only deviation from the original timeline that is acknowledged by characters in the show.
Robin, he didn't age. Everyone else here aged. How is that possible?
Some characters have theories as to why this deviation exists.
My Robin died. I think somehow he lives on in you.
Yet, it is never fully explained. Since we never really see genie wishes implement someone's subconscious desires, I find it unlikely that the Evil Queen's subconscious changed Robin. My theory is that Wish Realm Robin came to be as a combination of the original Robin's soul and David's wish. According to Hades, there is no underworld and no moving on for people killed with the Olympian crystal, but that doesn't mean that Robin's essence can't still be around in the above world, and we sometimes even see it manifest as feathers and through Regina's dreams. And then there is David's wish.
I wish that the Evil Queen gets exactly what she deserves.
Which seemingly has no consequences at first apart from her getting turned into a snake by Gideon as a suitable punishment for her crimes. But I think this very wish also does something else. It creates a soulmate for the Evil Queen by altering the fake memories of the Wish Realm inhabitants, rejuvenating Robin, and then as a third and final step making the Wish Realm real. Before this very moment it was a fake illusion, but with David's wish it becomes real, so Robin is able to cross over to the original universe to be with the Evil Queen. Too bad, Regina doesn't know the Wish Realm is real when she murders its monarchs and leaves Prince Henry orphaned and alone.
Oops.
This new Robin story however continues and takes a tragic turn. Marion dies before the two can marry. Robin never becomes Robin Hood, stealing from the rich and giving to the poor, and their son, Roland, is never born. Apart from this major change in the timeline, there are also some other deviations from the original timeline that don't even get acknowledged in the show. The first change addresses the dwarf lineup. Stealthy is alive. There is no apparent reason for this. Since we never see Happy or Dopey's Wish Realm counterpart, maybe one of them died in King George's castle in Stealthy's stead. I assume since Jeffrey Kaiser, who portrayed Dopey, left the show after Season 5 and Michael Coleman apparently also wasn't available even though he appears in the musical episode in the second half of the season. The writers wanted a number of dwarves closer to the original 7, but the fact that they brought back Stealthy for this just doesn't make sense when they could have recast the two missing dwarves and placed them somewhere in the background so it's not that noticeable. Another change involves the Wish Realm version of Cruella.
Hello, darling.
Her story remains mostly the same, but since she is in the Wish Realm in the series finale, she can't have gone through the portal with Ursula and Maleficent's egg because without Storybrooke and its magic there would have been no way for her to find a portal and return to the Wish Realm. Therefore it stands to reason that she never went through the apprentice's portal to begin with. This however leaves us with another question. Why didn't she age like everyone apart from the people somehow related to Robin Hood? She couldn't have used Lily's egg like the original Cruella did.
Ursula and I took that dragon egg she was in. Oh, the magic helped us stay young, you know. Wonderful thing. But the little brat...
My daughter.
Yes, well...
Maybe Maleficent's magic keeps her young. Maybe it's something else.
Monthly juice cleanse does wonders for the skin.
Oh, at last. I feel I've aged a decade waiting for you.
Well, you certainly look like it.
And since the show has ended, we will likely never get an answer to this question. Now, let's have a look at what is going on in the new Enchanted Forest. Technically the following events are also part of the original timeline, but since the original New Enchanted Forest never interacts with anyone from the original timeline and therefore has little relevance, I did not add these flashbacks to my original timeline videos. Regarding chronology, they take place in unspecified time before Hook's first encounter with Regina. It is difficult to note down when exactly this point in time is, as time in the new Enchanted Forest runs a lot faster than in places like the Enchanted Forest or the Land Without Magic, but it is never explicitly stated how much faster that is.
Time runs differently there. Nothing makes sense. Anything's possible.
Regardless, here is what happens in the new Enchanted Forest. A young woman named Rapunzel Tremaine breaks into Gothel's garden and strikes a deal with the witch.
Who dares trespass in Gothel's garden?
I'll apologize for taking some food, but I won't apologize for trying to help my family.
As the price for saving her family, Gothel traps her in a tower.
You swore to pay any price for your family's happiness. And there's a distinct difference between theirs and yours.
Meanwhile, via Gothel's magic, Rapunzel's husband Marcus and the daughters they had together thrive. Every night Anastasia lets lanterns fly so Rapunzel can find her way home.
Those lanterns that were your hope. The bastion that you put Anastasia on a pedestal for. They were my idea.
Anastasia makes a doll for her sisters she names Beatrice. Marcus eventually remarries. His new wife, Cecilia, already has a daughter of her own, Ella. 6 years after being imprisoned, Rapunzel finally escapes her tower prison. She reunites with her family, only to find out that Marcus remarried. Drizella's relationship with Rapunzel crumbles. Gothel shows up and gives her former prisoner a mushroom from New Wonderland to poison Cecilia's heart so she can have her former life back. Rapunzel refuses at first but eventually poisons Cecilia's drink with Gothel's mushroom. Now cursed to never be able to be with the one she loves, Cecilia runs away to Wonderland. Marcus spends a whole year unsuccessfully looking for her. He eventually returns home to Rapunzel. Anastasia starts developing strong magic powers. One night, playing hide and seek, she summons magic lanterns to help Drizella find her and to guide both of them home. Some time after, Anastasia and Ella fall through the ice on a frozen lake. Marcus saves Ella first and then Anastasia, and Rapunzel starts resenting him for it. Anastasia is now in a coma and Rapunzel takes her to Gothel, who manages to preserve Anastasia's last breath in her body. Rapunzel then tricks her and traps her in her own tower prison, now enhanced with blood magic. The next time we see these characters is in the present-day storyline of Season 7. This, however, leaves us with a problem. These events take place 30 years after Anastasia's accident, and since time in the new Enchanted Forest runs faster, even more time passes, meaning the characters should be significantly older than they actually are. The only way to explain this would be that a lot of characters either left the new Enchanted Forest for a while, or there was some kind of magic affecting time in parts of the new Enchanted Forest for a while, like when Ingrid froze Arendelle for 30 years.
Plot hole, for sure.
Meanwhile, in the Wish version of the Enchanted Forest, after Hook first meets Regina and leaves the castle to get his crew ready for the curse, and before the Queen tasks him to assassinate his father, Snow and David with the help of the fairies manage to steal Regina's magic, defeating her and stopping her curse.
Snow White defeated the evil queen? I did not see that coming.
A memorial statue is erected on the battle site. Either way, Geppetto and Pinocchio finish building the wardrobe. The evil queen tells Hook that Snow and Charming stopped her. In exchange for passage on his ship, she offers him a map to Gothel's tower where he can find magic strong enough to destroy the Dark One. Hook and Smee then venture to the new Enchanted Forest and find the tower. Killian climbs it and meets Gothel masquerading as Rapunzel. She tells him to sneak into the witch's garden and get a magic golden flower that could free her from the tower and help Hook defeat his crocodile. In the garden, Killian and Smee are attacked by a giant garden gnome, but they manage to retrieve the magical flower and defeat the gnome. Hook returns to the tower with the flower and spends the night with Gothel, still pretending to be Rapunzel. The next morning the witch reveals herself and introduces Hook to their child.
If you're the witch who guards the tower, then where's Rapunzel?
Oh, that's a tragic tale. I built the tower to imprison Rapunzel, but she managed to turn the tables and trap me instead.
That's why you needed the flower.
Not the flower, but you. The flower imprisoned me, which means it couldn't free me. The only way I can escape this prison is by leaving someone in my bloodline to take my place.
She escapes the tower and abandons her daughter. Killian briefly returns to the Wish version of the Enchanted Forest, makes Smee captain of the Jolly Roger and tells Regina he found something more important than his revenge.
What is more important than revenge?
He goes back to his daughter, who he names Alice after his mother, and stays with her in the tower. Regina then is banished from the Wish realm and the fairies make sure she can never return.
This is impossible. You were banished.
The fairies saw to it you could never return. There's no way you can be here right now.
Shortly after, Emma is born. Rumple is moved from his original cell to a cell located beneath the ruins of the evil queen's castle for some reason. At some point Hook learns where Rumple is imprisoned. Balefire escapes from Neverland using the shadow. And since it seems to be aware at this point which realm the truest believer is going to be born in, it takes him back to the Wish realm and not to the land without magic like his counterpart. At some point Geppetto dies. Pinocchio dismantles the wardrobe, as it reminded him of darker times. Meanwhile young Alice is plagued by nightmares of Gothel killing her father. Hook wants to finally find a way to free her from the tower to keep her safe. As he departs, he gives Alice his chess knight and she gives him her rook. Killian visits Rumple for help, who tells him about Maui's fish hook, now in the hands of Captain Ahab. The pirate gets the magical item from Ahab, but when he returns to honor his deal and free the Dark One, Ahab shows up. He insults the pirate's honor and challenges him to a duel. The two of them duel. Both of them are shot but Hook wins. However, Gothel made sure Ahab's bullet was poisoned. Hook returns to his daughter only to realize he now carries the curse of the poisoned heart. Gothel teleports him out of the tower, taunts him and steals Maui's fish hook.
I couldn't let you free her, and now you never will.
That bitch.
Smee eventually takes the Jolly Roger back to Neverland to fulfill his dream of eternal life. Blackbeard follows him there, hoping to steal back the Jolly Roger. This would explain why both of them are still as young as their counterparts in the original universe in Season 7. Hook slowly gives up on ever being reunited with his daughter and becomes a depressed drunk.
All I see is a cave where booze goes to perish.
Truth is, this is where I came to do the same. I gave up on ever being reunited with Alice. If it wasn't for a good friend, I might never have charted the right course again.
Ariel befriends him and steers him back on the right path. Since she also didn't age, it is possible that she spends some time in Neverland or a realm with similar properties for a while after her time with Hook. The time passes and Alice grows up alone in her tower. At least since the tower prison is magical, it provides her with food so she doesn't starve to death. On her 17th birthday, her magic manifests for the first time. She summons a troll that helps her escape the tower. She then follows a white rabbit to New Wonderland where she outruns a Bandersnatch and meets Cecilia, who is then killed in a battle with a Jabberwocky.
It was just another tea party. And then the Jabberwock attacked us. Your mother fought valiantly. And in the end, I slayed it. But I was the only one that survived.
Alice slays the Jabberwocky, indicating that this is a different creature from the immortal Jabberwocky in the spin-off, possibly similar to the Jabberwock, the first iteration of Jack slayed in the original Wonderland.
I once slayed a Jabberwock that was terrorizing a village.
With Cecilia gone, Marcus's enchanted necklace stops glowing. This creates a small plot hole, because Ella states that the necklace stopping to glow is what caused Marcus to stop looking for Cecilia. However, this can't be true since the glowing of the necklace is connected to Cecilia's death and because she did meet Alice before her demise, and since Marcus already returned to Rapunzel before Alice was even born, the timeline does not add up here.
The plot hole, for sure.
Balefire meets Emma, falls in love with her, and has a child with her. It is unclear why Emma decides to name her son Henry, as the original Henry was named after Regina's father, but it might just be a coincidence. Alice eventually leaves Wonderland and goes to other places.
You're the Alice from Wonderland?
And other places. God. You have one weird trip and it's all anyone knows about you.
In some of them time runs slower than in the Wish realm, otherwise she would be significantly older by the time she meets the original version of Rumple. At some point the sorcerer's apprentice goes blind.
Do not be fooled. I am blind, but my sword is still sharp.
It is possible that Balefire and Rumple eventually reunite through Henry, so the seer's prophecy is fulfilled.
Boy, a young boy will lead you to him. But beware, Rumplestiltskin, for that boy is more than he appears. He will lead you to what you seek. But there will be a price. The boy will be your undoing.
Balefire dies shortly after through unknown means, and Henry never gets to know his father. All of this, again, are fake memories implemented in the inhabitants of the Wish universe by the evil Queen's wish. The now following events are events that actually occurred in this newly created universe. In the royal castle, Emma celebrates her, likely 31st, birthday with her parents and Henry. She then tells Snow and David that she was dreaming about Storybrooke and how she found Hrunting under her bed. Emma gives the sword to Henry for his knighting ceremony. Outsmarting the evil queen, Regina also uses one of the genie's wishes and gets sent to the Wish realm. She runs into the dwarves who are terrified, thinking their version of the evil queen has returned. She then finds Emma singing in the woods, but has to teleport away when Snow and David show up. In the ruins of her old castle, Regina finds Rumple and frees him from his cell in exchange for a magic beam. Pretending to still be evil, Regina crashes Henry's knighting ceremony and kidnaps Snow and David. Meanwhile in Storybrooke, David makes his wish, and if my theory is true, this is when the Robin timeline shifts and the Wish realm becomes real. Regina threatens to kill Snow and David if Emma doesn't fight her and seizes her destiny as the savior meant to defeat her. She kills Snow and David and Emma is unable to protect them. Henry shows up and tries to kill Regina. Emma stops him with her magic, suddenly remembering who she is when Regina refuses to hurt their son. Rumple shows up and gives Regina the magic beam. They open a portal, but Regina hesitates to jump through when Robin shows up to rob them. The portal closes. Robin runs away and Emma and Regina hide from Prince Henry and his knights. Emma decides to ask Pinocchio for help and Regina goes to look for Robin. She eventually finds him in a tavern and asks him whether or not he's happy in the Wish realm. The Sheriff of Nottingham arrests both Robin and Regina. Pinocchio takes Emma to the Enchanted Grove, where Geppetto once found the tree used for the wardrobe, and conveniently there is another enchanted tree, even though the Blue Fairy claimed the one Geppetto used was the last one.
That's a lie!
We don't do that.
A lie!
Either way, the Wish version of Hook then attacks Pinocchio and Emma and tries to take the princess back to the castle to collect the reward set out by the royal family for her return. Emma knocks him out with magic and teleports him back to the Jolly Roger, but during the fight, Pinocchio's enchanted chisel breaks. The Sheriff of Nottingham locks Regina and Robin in a paddy wagon. Robin admits to Regina he hasn't been happy for a long time. Rumple frees them only to lock them up again in his castle, angry that the evil queen let Belle starve to death in her cell. The two of them however manage to escape the Dark One's dungeon. Emma tries to carve the tree herself and finds a wooden swan in Pinocchio's toolbox. She then encourages and convinces him that he can in fact carve the tree without Geppetto's magic chisel. Pinocchio is successful. The wardrobe is finished. Regina, Emma, and Robin return to Storybrooke. To keep this video as short as possible, I will not go into full detail on what happens in Storybrooke during Season 6 and only explain what was going on in the Wish Realm during that time. After Regina's final showdown with the Evil Queen, Henry uses his author powers to give the not-so-evil-anymore Evil Queen a fresh start. She is sent to the Wish Realm to be with Robin. The author's magic put a temporary cloaking spell on her that only Robin can see through. This spell, however, soon wears off and villagers try to kill her on multiple occasions. After Hook finally managed to return to Storybrooke, having been banished by Gideon, and after the shared sleeping curse on Snow and David is finally broken, the Evil Queen and Robin relocate to the Enchanted Forest and move into Regina's old castle. Prince Henry also leaves the Wish Realm. Meanwhile, Rumple wreaks havoc on the remaining inhabitants of said land. He also manages to find Peter Pan and takes him prisoner at his castle. Some time passes. The final battle is fought and won. Wish Realm Henry travels the realms and tries to save a princess, but another knight beats him to it. Rumple offers him a deal, but Henry refuses. After Belle, Gideon, and Mr. Gold leave Storybrooke to start their travels, the Wish Realm version of Dr. Facilier arrives in the new Enchanted Forest, looking for the Firefly Ruby. This is also when a gator swallows the necklace he once gave Regina. After traveling the realms, Hansel and Gretel also arrive in the new Enchanted Forest. They separate and Hansel decides to go by Jack henceforth. The rest of the Wish Realm events are directly tied to the plot of Season 7, and it wouldn't necessarily make sense to look at them detached from the rest of the 7th season. Again, if you want me to break down the complete Season 7 timeline including the events in the sped-up new Enchanted Forest, the Wish Realm, Storybrooke, and the time travel plot regarding Hyperion Heights, please comment below. Thank you for watching, and always remember,
all magic comes with a price.